Imagine for a moment that you're standing at the edge of a great opportunity. You can see the potential, the success, the growth, the joy that awaits you. But something holds you back. A voice inside you whispers, "What if I fail? What if I look foolish?" That moment of hesitation, that fear of looking embarrassed, of making a mistake, is the very thing standing between you and everything you could become. But here's the truth: if you're not embarrassed, you're not trying. We live in a world that constantly encourages perfection, instant success, and flawless achievements. Social media feeds are filled with highlight reels of people's best moments, creating an illusion that success happens easily and without struggle. But the reality is far different. The road to success is messy. It's filled with uncertainty, setbacks, and yes, moments of embarrassment. The very moments we often try to avoid are the ones that carry the most potential for growth. If you're never embarrassed, if you're never uncomfortable, then you're not pushing yourself hard enough. You're not stepping into the unknown, trying something new, or breaking boundaries. True growth and success happen when you step outside your comfort zone, face your fears, and embrace the possibility of failure. Because in the end, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, taking risks, and trying even when you don't have all the answers. So today, I'm here to tell you that embarrassment is not something to fear. It's a sign that you're trying, that you're challenging yourself, and that you're moving closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. If you're not embarrassed, you're not trying. Let's explore why this truth matters more than ever, and how embracing it can unlock the success you've always dreamed of. Growth comes from discomfort. It's so easy to become comfortable. We live in a world that thrives on comfort zones. There's a reason why so many of us get stuck in routines, locked into predictability, and cling to the things that feel safe. The world tells us that comfort is what we should seek, that stability is what we should crave. But here's the truth: comfort is not the place where growth happens. Comfort is where you rest, but it is not where you evolve. Growth happens in the discomfort. The first time you push yourself to try something new, to do something that feels beyond your current capability, you will experience discomfort. Whether that's the nervousness before giving a presentation, the anxiety before having a difficult conversation, or the feeling of vulnerability before stepping onto a new career path, it all comes with discomfort. But it is in that discomfort that you will change. You see, growth is not linear. It's not a simple, straight path from one point to the next. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, and it can be downright painful at times. But that's the beauty of it. When you experience discomfort, you are testing the boundaries of your current self. You are forcing yourself into a space where your limits are stretched and your abilities are questioned. And in that space, you grow. Think about the first time you ever tried something that pushed you beyond your comfort zone. Maybe it was a big presentation at work. Maybe it was launching a new project. Maybe it was having an honest conversation with someone important in your life. That discomfort you felt, that hesitation, that nervous energy, was a sign that you were in the process of evolving. It was a sign that you were learning and stretching. The discomfort wasn't something to avoid. It was something to embrace. Every time I've stepped out of my comfort zone, I've felt discomfort. The first time I went on television, I was terrified. The first time I stood in front of a crowd and spoke, I could feel my heart racing. And every time I decided to leap into something new, I had to face that fear. That feeling of being exposed, of not knowing what I was doing, of wondering if I would fail. But with every single instance, I got stronger, I learned. I developed resilience. I became more capable. The discomfort didn't break me, it built me. You see, discomfort is a tool for transformation. It's a powerful force that pushes you to reconsider your limitations. It asks you, are you willing to try something that scares you? Are you willing to face uncertainty in pursuit of something greater? Growth is not about staying safe. It's about stepping out, even when you don't have all the answers. It's about learning to thrive in the unknown. Now, let me be clear. Discomfort doesn't always feel good. It's not supposed to. The discomfort you experience when you're growing may feel overwhelming at times. It may bring up feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt. But those feelings are not signs of failure. They're signs of progress. Every time you feel that discomfort, you are knocking on the door of something new. And even if it feels challenging in the moment, You can trust that you are on the right path. We often seek comfort because it feels safe. It's a place where we feel confident, in control, and steady. But the problem with that is that comfort doesn't foster growth. When we live in our comfort zone for too long, we stagnate. We become complacent. We stop taking risks. And when we stop taking risks, we stop evolving. We stop learning. We stop pushing ourselves to be better. So the next time you find yourself avoiding discomfort, ask yourself why. What's holding you back? Is it fear of failure? Fear of rejection? Fear of being judged? Here's the thing, fear is a natural part of growth. Every time we face discomfort, there's a natural instinct to shrink back, to avoid what feels hard. But if we do that, we'll never experience the transformation that comes with pushing through it. I want you to understand something powerful. You are capable of handling discomfort. You are stronger than you think. And every time you face it head on, you will build resilience. We often think that success is about avoiding discomfort, about finding a way to glide through life with minimal resistance. But that's not true success. True success is about embracing discomfort and using it as fuel. It's about understanding that the moments of discomfort are actually the moments where the most growth happens. When you push yourself to show up, to try something new, to step outside of your comfort zone, you are laying the foundation for your future self. That discomfort is your stepping stone to becoming the person you were always meant to be. Think about some of the greatest breakthroughs in history. They didn't come from people who were comfortable. The innovators, the leaders, the visionaries, they all faced discomfort. They all took risks. They all ventured into the unknown, unsure of the outcome, but with a belief that the process would make them stronger, wiser, and better. And that's exactly what happened. It was through discomfort that they were able to create, to lead, to change the world. You too are capable of this kind of transformation. The discomfort you face today is the catalyst for the version of yourself that you will be tomorrow. Every moment that makes you uncomfortable is an opportunity for growth. Every challenge, every risk, every uncertain path you take is a chance to learn something new, to grow in ways you never thought possible. So stop running from discomfort. Stop avoiding the difficult conversations, the tough decisions, the challenges that scare you. They are the very things that will shape you into the person you are meant to become. And here's the beauty of it. When you learn to embrace discomfort, you stop seeing it as a threat. You stop fearing it. You start seeing it for what it really is, an opportunity for transformation. You become more comfortable with the discomfort. You begin to trust the process. You realize that discomfort doesn't mean failure. It means growth. The discomfort you feel today will be the strength you stand on tomorrow. And that strength will carry you further than you ever imagined. So the next time you feel that nervous energy, that anxiety, that feeling of being on the edge, lean into it. You are on the brink of something extraordinary. Trust that discomfort is a sign that you are on the right path. It's a sign that you are growing, evolving, and becoming the best version of yourself. Remember, comfort is not the place where growth happens. It is in the discomfort that we find our power. It is in the discomfort that we uncover our true potential. And it is in the discomfort that we become the people we are meant to be. So the next time life asks you to stretch, to try, to step outside your comfort zone, don't hesitate. Embrace the discomfort. It's the most powerful tool you have for growth. Failure is a sign of effort. Failure. It's a word that many of us run from. It carries a weight of judgment, of disappointment, of fear. For many, failure is something to be avoided at all costs, a reflection of inadequacy, a proof that we aren't enough. The irony of this mindset, though, is that failure is actually a sign of effort. And when you truly understand that, it becomes a powerful tool for growth. We've all experienced failure in some form or another. Maybe it was a failed exam, a project that didn't meet expectations, or a relationship that ended abruptly. And every time we face failure, we often find ourselves thinking, I wasn't good enough, or I didn't try hard enough. We beat ourselves up for the things that didn't go according to plan, and we let failure define us. But what if we reframed failure? What if we saw it not as something to be ashamed of, but as a sign that we were putting in the effort? What if we saw failure not as the end of the road, but as part of the process? The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Failure is a necessary part of growth. It's the lesson that we need to learn in order to move forward. Every successful person has encountered failure. In fact, most successful people have failed more times than they've succeeded. And here's the key: they didn't let those failures stop them. They didn't let them define their worth. Instead, they took each failure as an opportunity to learn, to adjust, to refine their approach. Think about Thomas Edison, for example. He is known for having failed thousands of times before he successfully invented the light bulb. In his mind, failure was an obstacle. It was simply a step in the process. He once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each failure taught him something new, brought him closer to his ultimate goal, and strengthened his resolve. Edison didn't let failure discourage him. Instead, he used it as a catalyst for his eventual success. Failure, at its core, is a test of perseverance. It's a measure of how badly you want something. It challenges your resilience, your capacity to keep going when things don't go according to plan. It pushes you to question your assumptions, to rethink your strategies, and to find new ways of doing things. It's in failure that we truly learn about ourselves and what we're capable of. But too often we stop after failure. We let it consume us, let it tell us that we are not good enough, let it convince us that we should give up. But failure is a gift. It's a chance to reflect, to adjust, to improve. When you experience failure, you are being given the opportunity to build resilience, to become more adaptable, to learn from your mistakes, and to grow stronger as a result. Failure isn't a setback, it's a setup for something greater. If you've ever failed and then succeeded afterward, you know that the taste of success is that much sweeter when you've had to work through the failure. The journey is just as important as the destination. The lessons you learn in the face of failure are often more valuable than the successes themselves. Failure is where you truly discover your limits, and more importantly, where you learn how to push beyond them. It teaches you that you are capable of far more than you think. Yet, despite all of this, we often resist failure. We try to avoid it at all costs because we're afraid of being judged, of appearing weak, of letting others see our struggles. In a world that so heavily emphasizes perfection and success, failure feels like a stain on our character. But here's the truth: failure is not a reflection of who you are. It is simply an event, an outcome of a certain set of circumstances. It's not an indictment of your worth. It doesn't mean you are less than anyone else. It just means you've tried something, and the outcome didn't align with your expectations. Yet, let's talk about rejection for a moment, because rejection is one of the harshest forms of failure that we experience. It's painful. It feels like a personal affront, like we're being told we are not good enough. But rejection isn't a reflection of our value. It's simply the universe or another person telling us that this particular opportunity wasn't the right fit. And instead of taking it personally, we should take it as a sign that we are on the right path. Rejection means we're putting ourselves out there, that we're striving for something, that we're taking risks. Think about the countless successful individuals who faced rejection time and time again before they found their breakthrough. Oprah Winfrey, for example, was told she was unfit for television early in her career. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter manuscript was rejected by 12 publishers before it was finally accepted. If they had let rejection define them, where would we be today? The key to their success wasn't avoiding rejection. It was learning how to navigate it and keep moving forward. Rejection and failure go hand in hand. They are both signs that you are trying. They show that you are venturing into unknown territory, pushing boundaries, and striving for something beyond the status quo. And that is something to be proud of. We don't grow by staying comfortable. We grow by putting ourselves out there, by testing our limits, and by failing along the way. Every failure is a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey. In fact, failure is the ultimate test of your commitment to your goals. It asks you, how badly do you want this? It challenges your resolve, your determination, and your willingness to keep going. Success isn't just about talent or luck. It's about tenacity. It's about getting back up after you fall. And it's about recognizing that failure doesn't have to mean the end. It can be a powerful tool for learning and growth. So the next time you fail, and you will, don't be disheartened. Celebrate it, embrace it. Because failure means you are in the game. It means you are trying. It means you are learning. And above all, it means you are one step closer to success. Failure is not your enemy. It is your ally. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it propel you forward. You can't control everything, but you can control your response. We often think that success or failure is determined by what happens to us. We believe that if the circumstances around us are just right, if the timing is perfect, if we have the right resources, or if everything aligns, then success will be inevitable. However, the reality is far more complex. You can't control everything, but the one thing you do have power over is how you respond. The notion of controlling external factors is appealing because it gives us a sense of security. We want to be able to orchestrate every detail of our lives. The perfect job, the perfect relationships, the perfect career trajectory. We assume that if we can control these elements, we can dictate our outcomes. But life is unpredictable, and sometimes, no matter how hard we try, things don't go according to plan. So, what do we do in those moments when things fall apart, when the world throws us a curveball, when we face a setback that we didn't see coming? The answer is simple: you control your response. This is one of the most empowering truths you can embrace in life. While you may not be able to control what happens to you, you can always control how you react to it. Think about the times in your life when everything seemed to go wrong. Maybe it was a job loss, the end of a relationship, or a personal setback. It's easy in those moments to feel powerless, to believe that everything is out of your hands. But here's where your power lies. How you respond is entirely within your control, and how you respond can shape the course of your future. Take a moment to reflect on a situation in your life where things didn't go as planned. Perhaps you faced disappointment or experienced a setback that you couldn't control. Did you stay stuck in that moment, allowing the situation to dictate your emotions? Or did you choose to respond in a way that empowered you to move forward? The truth is, your response is the one thing that sets you apart. While circumstances may be beyond your control, your mindset, your choices, and your actions in the face of those circumstances are all within your power. This is where your true strength lies. Life will inevitably throw challenges your way. Some will be small and others will be overwhelming. But it's not the challenge itself that defines you. It's how you choose to rise above it. We've all encountered situations where things went awry and it felt as though the world was against us. Perhaps it was the loss of an important opportunity, a rejection, a failure that we didn't anticipate. In those moments, it's easy to feel like a victim, like we have no control over what happens next. But what if, instead of viewing those moments as defeats, we saw them as opportunities to demonstrate our resilience? What if we understood that our response to adversity is what defines us, not the adversity itself? Consider the story of Viktor Frankl, the renowned neurologist and psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust. His book, Man's Search for Meaning, details his experiences in the concentration camps and offers powerful insights into human resilience. Despite the unimaginable suffering and the external circumstances beyond his control, Frankl realized that he still had the power to control his inner life. He wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms: to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Frankl's response to his brutal reality, choosing to find meaning in his suffering, was a profound testament to the power of human choice, even in the most dire circumstances. When you embrace the idea that you can control your response, you unlock a profound level of personal power. You shift from being a passive observer of your life to an active participant. You stop allowing the circumstances to dictate your emotional state and instead take responsibility for your reaction. This doesn't mean you deny your feelings of disappointment, frustration, or grief. It means that even in those moments, you choose to rise above them. You choose to respond with strength, resilience, and an unwavering belief that you can navigate through the storm. One of the most important aspects of this mindset is understanding that your response is a choice. No one can force you to react in a certain way. It's easy to blame others, to fall into the trap of thinking that someone or something outside of yourself is responsible for how you feel. But the truth is, you always have the power to choose your response. This is liberating because it means that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your experience. Let's say you lose a job. It's natural to feel a sense of panic, frustration, and fear. But while you can't control the fact that you lost the job, you can control how you respond. You can choose to see it as an opportunity to reassess your goals, to explore new career paths, or to sharpen your skills. You can choose to seek out new opportunities instead of dwelling on the loss. Or you can choose to let the setback define you and stay stuck in the frustration of the situation. The decision is yours. Your response determines the direction of your life. This is true in every aspect, from your career to your relationships to your personal growth. When life presents you with a challenge, you can choose to rise up, to adapt, and to move forward with purpose. Your response is what shapes your future. This idea also applies to the way we handle criticism. In today's world, it's so easy to become defensive or to shut down when we receive negative feedback. But what if we saw criticism not as an attack on our character, but as an opportunity for growth? What if we chose to respond with curiosity, with a willingness to learn, and with an open mind? When you adopt this perspective, criticism becomes a tool for self-improvement instead of a threat to your ego. The key to controlling your response is cultivating emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand your emotions, as well as the emotions of others. It allows you to manage your emotions effectively, especially in high-pressure situations. When you are emotionally intelligent, you are better able to navigate challenging situations with calm and clarity. You understand that emotions are temporary, and you don't let them control your actions. In any difficult situation, ask yourself, what can I control? You may not be able to control the external circumstances, but you can always control how you respond. Your response will determine your experience, and it will ultimately shape your future. So, the next time life presents you with a challenge, remember this: you are not helpless. You may not be able to control the situation, but you can control your attitude, your mindset, and your actions. And in doing so, you hold the key to turning any obstacle into an opportunity for growth. Embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness in today's society. We're taught from a young age to hide our emotions, to shield ourselves from pain, and to present a confident, unshakable image to the world. We think that being vulnerable makes us exposed and open to judgment, criticism, or even failure. But in truth, vulnerability is not a weakness. It is a source of strength. We allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We open the door to deeper connections with others. We allow ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, without the masks, without the facade, and without the walls we so often build around ourselves. And it is in this rawness, this authenticity, that we find true courage and power. Let's take a moment to think about what vulnerability really means. Vulnerability is not about weakness or being passive. It's about being honest and open, about allowing ourselves to feel and express emotions that we might otherwise hide. It's about taking the risk of showing up in the world as our true selves without the fear of rejection or judgment. Vulnerability is not something that makes us weak, it is what makes us human. In fact, vulnerability is often the catalyst for the greatest moments of growth. It's only when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable that we can experience true connection with others. When we hold back, when we keep our true feelings or experiences hidden, we isolate ourselves. We may appear to be strong, but the truth is, we are denying ourselves the opportunity for real, meaningful relationships. Vulnerability invites others to meet us where we are, and it invites us to meet others in the same space. Think about the moments in your life when you've truly connected with someone. When have you felt most seen, most understood? It is likely that those moments of connection were born from vulnerability. When you opened up and allowed yourself to share your thoughts, your fears, your dreams, you created space for the other person to do the same. And in doing so, you fostered a deeper connection. Vulnerability also plays a crucial role in our personal growth. It is only when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable that we can push past our limitations. When we take risks, when we step outside of our comfort zones, we are inevitably going to face moments of vulnerability. We will feel exposed, uncertain, and even afraid. But in those moments, we have an opportunity to challenge ourselves and grow. Imagine that you're about to start a new project, one that excites you but also makes you nervous. The fear of failure and the fear of being judged can feel overwhelming. But instead of retreating into your comfort zone, you choose to lean into your vulnerability. You allow yourself to feel the fear and do it anyway. And as you take that step, you not only grow in your ability to manage discomfort, but also in your capacity to embrace the unknown. Vulnerability is a gateway to creative breakthroughs as well. When we allow ourselves to be open and honest, we create space for innovation. In many fields, from art to business to personal relationships, the most groundbreaking ideas and projects often come from people who are willing to take risks and be vulnerable. They aren't afraid to fail, and they aren't afraid to show the world what they're working on, flaws and all. Their openness allows them to tap into new ideas and possibilities that would have otherwise remained hidden. But why do we shy away from vulnerability in the first place? We live in a world that often values perfection, strength, and self-sufficiency. We are constantly bombarded with messages that we should have it all together, that we should be confident, and that we should never show weakness. This creates an environment where vulnerability feels like something to be avoided. We're afraid that if we show our true selves, we will be judged, criticized, or rejected. But here's the truth: the vulnerability is what makes us human. It is through vulnerability that we form authentic connections with others. It is through vulnerability that we experience empathy and understanding. And it is through vulnerability that we learn to embrace ourselves, flaws and all. When we embrace vulnerability, we invite others to do the same. We create an environment where authenticity can thrive, where people can show up as their true selves, and where deep connections can be formed. We allow ourselves to be vulnerable because we know that it is through our vulnerability that we find strength, courage, and resilience. The process of embracing vulnerability begins with accepting our imperfections. We are all imperfect beings, and that is what makes us beautiful. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to be afraid, uncertain, and unsure of what comes next. These feelings do not make us weak, they make us real. And when we allow ourselves to be real, we open the door to growth, connection, and creativity. In our relationships, both personal and professional, vulnerability is the foundation of trust. Trust is built when we allow ourselves to be seen, truly seen, and when we allow others to be seen as well. We create a space where people feel safe to express their emotions, to share their fears, and to be open with their struggles. And when we do that, we foster deeper, more meaningful relationships. The beauty of vulnerability is that it invites us to be authentic, to show up as our true selves without pretense or fear. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we free ourselves from the pressure to conform to societal expectations of strength or perfection. We give ourselves permission to be human, and in doing so, we give others the same permission. So, the next time you find yourself resisting vulnerability, ask yourself why. What are you afraid of? What do you think will happen if you allow yourself to be open, honest, and real? Chances are the very thing you fear, rejection, judgment, or failure, is the thing that will lead you to your greatest growth. Because it is only through vulnerability that we truly connect, create, and evolve. Vulnerability is not something to hide from. It is not a weakness. It is our strength. It is the thing that allows us to build authentic connections, to grow beyond our limitations, and to create meaningful change in our lives. When we embrace vulnerability, we embrace the fullness of who we are. And that is where the magic happens. The fear of embarrassment is often greater than the reality. We all have fears. Some of them are rational, and some are a product of our own imaginations. But one of the most common and paralyzing fears people face is the fear of embarrassment. We fear making a mistake in public, saying something wrong, or being judged by others. This fear often keeps us from trying new things, from stepping outside our comfort zones, and from fully expressing ourselves. We let the fear of embarrassment dictate our actions, and in doing so, we rob ourselves of opportunities for growth. The thing is, the fear of embarrassment is often much greater than the actual reality of the situation. We imagine the worst-case scenario, where everyone is laughing at us, pointing fingers, and judging us harshly. But in reality, people are far less concerned with our mistakes than we think. Most people are wrapped up in their own lives, their own worries, and their own concerns. The likelihood that someone is going to deeply judge or mock us for a small mistake is slim. And even if they do, the embarrassment we feel is often fleeting. Think about the times when you felt embarrassed. Maybe it was when you misspoke in a meeting, tripped in public, or made a mistake in front of others. In the moment, it can feel like the worst thing in the world. But after a few moments, the embarrassment starts to fade. Most people will forget about it, and those who do remember likely won't think about it for long. What we perceive as a moment of extreme embarrassment is often just a small blip on the radar of life. The truth is, embarrassment is a natural part of being human. We all make mistakes, say things we regret, and have moments where we feel self-conscious, and that's okay. In fact, those moments often make us more relatable. They show that we are human, just like everyone else. They remind us that we are not perfect, and that's something people can connect with. We all have moments where we feel embarrassed, and it's through those moments that we learn and grow. When we face the fear of embarrassment head on, we begin to realize that the stakes are often much lower than we think. The fear we carry in our minds is usually a product of our own insecurities. But when we actually push through that fear, we find that the reality isn't as scary as it seemed. In fact, many times we discover that people are supportive, understanding, or even impressed by our courage to try something new, even if we make a mistake along the way. Embracing the possibility of embarrassment allows us to take risks, to try new things, and to push ourselves beyond our limits. When we can release the fear of looking foolish or making a mistake, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. We become more willing to step outside our comfort zones, to embrace challenges, and to take action even in the face of uncertainty. Remember, every mistake is a learning opportunity. The more we embrace the possibility of embarrassment, the less power it holds over us. Instead of letting fear control us, we take control of the situation by choosing to move forward with courage, knowing that embarrassment is just a fleeting moment that we can learn from, laugh about, ultimately grow past. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. We've all heard the phrase, growth happens outside your comfort zone. But how many of us truly embrace it? The truth is, growth requires discomfort. It's easy to stay where we feel safe, where things are familiar, and where we know exactly what to expect. That nothing ever changes if we don't push ourselves to step beyond what feels comfortable. When we try something new, especially something that challenges us, it often comes with feelings of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. Whether it's starting a new project, taking on a new role, or even trying something as simple as a new hobby, we are bound to experience some discomfort. It's in these moments of discomfort that we learn the most about ourselves. Think about it, no one ever achieved anything great by staying within their comfort zone. Every major achievement in history, whether in business, art, sports, or personal growth, happened because someone took a leap into the unknown. They risked failure, embarrassment, and the discomfort of the unfamiliar, but in doing so, they pushed the boundaries of what was possible. When we avoid discomfort, we limit our potential. We miss out on the chance to discover new talents, explore new opportunities, and grow into the person we are capable of becoming. Growth is not meant to be comfortable. It's meant to be a journey of transformation, and transformation rarely happens in a safe, predictable environment. So the next time you feel nervous about stepping into the unknown, remember, that's where growth happens. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to have it all figured out. All you need is the courage to step forward, even when it feels scary. Failure is not the end. It's part of the journey in a world that celebrates success and achievement. We often forget that failure is not something to be ashamed of. In fact, failure is a necessary part of the journey. It's often through our failures that we learn the most valuable lessons, develop resilience, and ultimately find our way to success. We've all experienced failure at some point. Whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal goals, we've all encountered setbacks. But what if we redefined failure? Instead of viewing it as the end, what if we saw it as an opportunity for growth? What if failure was simply a stepping stone toward our goals? Think about some of the greatest innovators and leaders in history. Many of them failed countless times before achieving their success. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before successfully inventing the light bulb. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Walt Disney faced multiple business failures before creating the iconic Disney empire. Yet, despite these setbacks, they never saw failure as the end. They saw it as a part of the process, an integral step on the way to success. Failure teaches us what doesn't work so we can find out what does. It gives us the opportunity to refine our approach, learn from our mistakes, and keep going. In fact, failure often leads to better success because it forces us to adapt, rethink our strategies, and improve. The fear of failure can hold us back from trying new things, But when we realize that failure is simply part of the path to success, it becomes less intimidating. Instead of avoiding failure, we begin to embrace it as an essential learning experience. Without failure, we would never grow. So, the next time you face a setback or a failure, remind yourself it's not the end. It's just a chapter in your journey. Get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. Because with every failure, you're one step closer to success. Success requires consistency, not perfection. In the world of instant gratification and social media highlights, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that success happens overnight or that it comes from a single, perfect moment. We often look at successful people and think they have it all together, that their path was smooth and without struggle. The truth, however, is that success is not about one shining moment of perfection. It's about consistency. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and remaining committed, even when the results aren't immediate. Success is built on a foundation of consistent effort. It's not about being perfect or having everything figured out from the start. It's about making small, incremental improvements every single day. Every small step you take toward your goal, even when it feels like nothing is happening, adds up over time. Consistency is the key to mastery. Whether it's in your career, health, relationships, or personal development, the most successful people are those who commit to the process day in and day out. They don't rely on bursts of inspiration or perfect conditions. They understand that success is a long game and that it takes steady, persistent effort. Look at any successful person, and you'll see a pattern. They didn't reach the top by being perfect. They reached their goals by showing up consistently, despite setbacks, mistakes, and failures, and were willing to embrace imperfection because they knew that it was through their mistakes and efforts that they would improve. Consider athletes like Serena Williams or Kobe Bryant. Both are considered among the greatest of all time in their respective sports, but their success didn't come from sheer talent alone. It came from years of practice, hours upon hours of work, and the willingness to keep going even when things were tough. They weren't always perfect. In fact, they both faced numerous setbacks and failures throughout their careers, but they remained consistent. Every day they worked on improving their skills, pushing their limits, and staying dedicated to their craft. Similarly, think about an artist who spends hours in the studio, creating, refining, and experimenting. Success in the arts doesn't happen because of a single masterpiece. It's the result of consistent practice, a commitment to growth, and the willingness to take risks. The same is true for entrepreneurs, leaders, and anyone who strives for success in any field. The process of becoming great is filled with small, steady steps that build on each other over time. One of the key reasons consistency is so important is because it helps you develop habits. Habits are the building blocks of success. When you commit to doing something consistently, it becomes second nature. You don't have to think about it. You just do it. This is how successful people continue to thrive year after year. They don't need motivation every single day to do the work. The habit of showing up consistently has been ingrained in them. On the flip side, if you are always chasing perfection, you'll find that you're never satisfied. You'll always feel like your work isn't good enough or that you aren't ready to take the next step. Perfectionism can lead to procrastination because you're afraid of not doing something perfectly. This fear of imperfection can stop you from taking any action at all. But perfection is an illusion. It's an unattainable standard that keeps you stuck, while the people who embrace consistency keep moving forward. It's important to remember that consistency doesn't mean you have to be perfect every day. There will be days when things don't go according to plan. There will be days when you fail, when you fall short, or when you don't feel like doing the work. That's okay. Success doesn't require perfect execution. It requires sticking with it, even when things get hard. The key is not to let those off days derail you. Everyone has moments of doubt or frustration. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is their ability to get back up and keep going. Success is not defined by a single perfect moment. It's the result of a lifetime of small, consistent actions. Consistency also allows you to build resilience. When you face challenges, and you will, because challenges are inevitable, your consistent effort will have already built a foundation of strength. You will be better equipped to handle setbacks and keep moving forward. because you've already trained yourself to keep showing up regardless of the circumstances. It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of perfection because it feels like a safe bet. We think that if we can just get everything right, then success will come. But the reality is that perfectionism holds you back. It keeps you from taking risks, from putting yourself out there, and from trying new things. Instead of focusing on being perfect, focus on being consistent. The small efforts you make each day compound and lead to big results over time. Perfection is also a major source of stress and burnout. The constant pressure to do everything flawlessly can drain your energy and enthusiasm. Instead of enjoying the process of learning, growing, and creating, you become focused on an unattainable goal of perfection. This is where people often burn out, as the relentless pursuit of perfection can feel exhausting and discouraging. However, consistency allows you to pace yourself. It's not about pushing yourself to the brink of exhaustion. It's about showing up day after day, doing the work, and being okay with not having all the answers. It's about accepting that you'll make mistakes along the way, but those mistakes will help you learn, grow, and improve. Perfection is overrated, but consistency is the true path to success. Finally, remember that success is not a one-time event, it's a journey. The people you admire who seem to have it all together didn't get there by being perfect. They got there by showing up even on the tough days. They got there by being consistent, by refusing to give up, and by continuing to move forward, no matter how imperfect the path seems. So, the next time you find yourself waiting for the perfect moment, or trying to get everything just right, remember that success requires consistency, not perfection. Don't wait for the stars to align. Don't wait until you feel ready. Take small steps every day, and know that every action you take brings you one step closer to your goals. It's through consistent effort, not perfection, that you will achieve your dreams. Your biggest limitations are often self-imposed. We often believe that our limitations come from external factors. Not having enough resources, not having enough time, or facing obstacles that are beyond our control. But the truth is, many of the limitations we face are self-imposed. Our fears, doubts, and insecurities often hold us back more than any external circumstances. Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself from pursuing something because you convinced yourself it wasn't possible? How many times have you let your own self-doubt stop you from taking a risk or trying something new? We often place boundaries on ourselves based on what we believe we can or cannot do, and these beliefs can be more limiting than any external obstacle. Our mindset plays a massive role in determining what we believe is possible for us. If you think you are not capable, you'll hold yourself back from even trying. If you think success is reserved for others, you'll never take the necessary steps to reach your own goals. The stories we tell ourselves about what we can or cannot do shape the reality we experience. When we set our own limits, we create barriers that prevent us from achieving what we are truly capable of. These self-imposed limitations often stem from fear. We fear failure, rejection, or the unknown, and as a result, we tell ourselves that we're not capable of handling what might come. But in reality, most of the things we fear are never as bad as we imagine. The very act of facing our fears often shows us that we are stronger and more resilient than we thought. The key to breaking through these self-imposed limitations is awareness. Once we realize that the biggest barriers we face are often created by our own beliefs and fears, we can begin to change our mindset. By challenging our self-doubt and reframing our thinking, we can unlock the potential we've been holding back. Remember, you are far more capable than you give yourself credit for. The limitations you believe are holding you back are often the very ones you've created in your own mind. By shifting your perspective and believing in your own potential, you can break free from these boundaries and achieve things you never thought possible. The only failure is not trying. One of the most common mistakes we make is to view failure as something that happens when we fall short of our goals. But the truth is, the only real failure is not trying at all. When we don't try, we close the door on the opportunity for growth, learning, and success. We rob ourselves of the chance to discover what we are truly capable of. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of failure. We fear rejection, ridicule, and the possibility of not succeeding. But failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of the journey. Each time we fail, we learn. Each time we try something and fall short, we gain experience, insight, and resilience. Failure doesn't define us, It teaches us valuable lessons that help us refine our approach and ultimately reach our goals. The real failure comes when we let fear of failure stop us from trying in the first place. When we allow self-doubt to paralyze us, or when we avoid taking risks to protect ourselves from the possibility of failure, we miss out on opportunities for growth and progress. It's in the act of trying, even if we don't succeed immediately, that we move closer to our dreams. Remember, it's better to try and fail than to never try at all. When we choose not to try, we ensure that we'll never know what might have been possible. So embrace the possibility of failure and use it as a stepping stone on your path to success. The only real failure is choosing to remain stuck in fear instead of moving forward with courage. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want you to carry one thing with you. Embrace the discomfort. Embrace the moments that make you feel vulnerable, the moments that make your heart race with uncertainty, because those are the moments that matter. The truth is, if you're never embarrassed, you're never pushing the boundaries of your potential. You're staying in the safe zone, avoiding the very experiences that will transform you. Growth lives on the other side of discomfort. It's in those awkward moments, the stumbles, the missteps, and even the failures that you will find your greatest lessons and victories. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. The world needs your voice, your talent, and your courage right now. And if that means you fall, if that means you stumble, let it be part of the journey. Because you are not defined by your mistakes. You are defined by your ability to rise, to learn, and to keep moving forward. So, the next time you feel that familiar twinge of fear, when you worry about how others might judge you, or when you question whether it's worth it, remember it's not about being perfect. It's about trying. It's about pushing through the discomfort and showing up every single day, even when you feel embarrassed. Because that's where the magic happens. That's where the transformation begins. So, step forward boldly, embrace the risk, and remember, if you're not embarrassed, you're not trying. And if you're not trying, you're not growing. Thank